This is NTV.
A very good afternoon to you. This is NTV at 1 with me, Smriti Vidyathi. Thanks for joining us. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has asked the Governor of Nairobi, Mike Sonko, to work with the Nairobi Metropolitan Service in a bid to improve service delivery to residents. President Kenyatta says a lot of time has been spent in fighting rather than working for the residents. Well, this is happening just a day after Speaker Beatrice Elachi resigned, citing unfavorable working conditions. Our reporter Leila Mohammed is at City Hall with the latest. Leila, what can you tell us?
Well, there's much that has been happening in the last few months, whether it is in the city government itself or within the County Assembly of Nairobi, Nairobi Metropolitan Services itself. Nairobi County has been abuzz with so much activity. There has been so much infighting between the senior leadership of various departments within that county government. And now President Uhuru Kenyatta has actually been quoted telling Governor Mike Sonko that the enemy's leadership is just here on secondment and they will be going back to the barracks once their mandate has been undertaken, and it will be impossible for them to vie for any political positions. So he has actually used his presidential decree to ask them to work together and stop the infighting that, according to him, is bringing more shame to the seat of power. Remember, Nairobi City County is where the seat of government sits. This is the highlight of this country. This is where everyone who matters sits here and where national government is run. So we believe that the calm within the storm that has been seen this day will be long-lasting and will last for a while to come. Mike Sonko himself was actually heard saying that it is now time to work for the people of the Nairobi County. Remember, there has been a serious presence of the police, which is still visible at the moment, and this is due to another section of the Nairobi City County. This is the County Assembly. Just yesterday, Speaker Beatrice Elachi stepped down after months of being in office, albeit in a tumultuous place and season. She was not the darling of the members of the County Assembly, and that infighting brought so much disparities and hatred amongst themselves. They were even fighting on the floor of the County Assembly, and this is why there still continues to be a presence of the police service here for the third week running. However, just this morning there has been an advertisement for the position of the Speaker for the Nairobi County Assembly. Remember, at the moment, the Deputy Speaker will be handling the business of the day at 2:30 when the County Assembly gets into the business of the legislation for the County of Nairobi. By Friday, it is hoped that everyone who is interested in that position will have applied, and there will be a vote inside this County Assembly on who will be the specific candidate that they believe will be able to work closely with the County Assembly members of Nairobi to move this position forward. So it's been a tumultuous time. President Uhuru Kenyatta has come in to hold a brief for the Nairobi County and says that the NMS is not the enemy of the people. Thus, there should be they should be working in tandem, all those departments, and it is hoped that as at Friday this week, there will be smoothness within the City Hall in Nairobi.
All right, Leila, thanks very much indeed. We certainly hope for a smooth journey ahead. We will be waiting and watching. NTV's Leila Mohammed there, coming to us live this afternoon from outside City Hall. Well, from one resignation to another, Barak Muluka has resigned from the Amani National Congress, that's the ANC party, as the Secretary General and also as a member of the party. In a letter addressed to the party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, and copied to the registrar of the political parties, Muluka explained his decision as a way of, quote, decongesting the party. He further says this would allow the leadership to make critical decisions on the population and leadership of the party based on the new constitution. He has also directed the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties to remove his name in both the capacities that he has vacated. Health matters now, and services in various health facilities have been paralyzed in Baringo County after health workers held demonstrations over what they termed as nepotism during the recent recruitment exercise and termination of contracts of others. Judith Chorono with more.
Over 200 health workers marched to the Governor and Public Service Board offices to protest what they term as unfair treatment during the recent recruitment. They also say their contracts were not renewed by the county despite working for over 15 months.
That maybe the Universal Health Care Phase 2 will consider us. We again did the interview, which I'm told guys were given messages on Saturday night. Only to our shock that, okay, Phase 1 ilienda, Phase 2 imeenda. Tuko sasa saizi sijui inaitwa sasa phase ngapi. Sasa tumeenda phase demonstration, phase asking what will become of us.
We have evidence of how the newly constituted Public Service Board of Baringo conspired to the office of the governor to have the qualified youths denied a constitutional right of employment. Yes. After going through the Public Service Commission.
The nurses had been on contract for over 1 year on a monthly pay of 10,000 shillings and were to be considered for full-time employment, but they say none of them were employed.
Mambo ya health. Hii si kitu ya kufanya na urafiki. Kwa sababu pale hospitali una deal na maisha ya watu.
Anti-riot police officers from Cabernet were on standby as the angry health workers demanded answers from county officials who are out of office. They have vowed to camp in the county offices until their plight is resolved. Judith Chorono, NTV.
To Savo now, and illegal livestock herding, illegal honey harvesting and charcoal burning are key causes of the fires that have been consuming the Savo National Park. This was revealed during a stakeholders meeting in Taita Taveta County, where the accused were put on notice. NTV's Bill Otieno was present at the meeting and shares the details.
The numerous wildfire experience in Savo National Park for the past 3 months has left many burning questions on who is behind them and why are they doing it. Representatives from national government and other stakeholders met in Mwatate, Taita Taveta County, seeking to get to the root of the fires and find a solution.
So far, I've been informed that there is 657 square kilometers of area which has been affected by the fire, out of the 22,000 square kilometers of our national park. They are illegal livestock herders within the park. We also have illegal honey harvesters and also illegal jackal burning. These are the major 3 causes of fire outbreaks in the parks.
The meeting on fire was not without a heated debate.
Ndio kuna shida ya our tenants, lakini zaidi
The meeting agreed that no cattle should be found inside National Park and the ranchers will be held responsible if parks fires are caused by their clients.
I've also insisted that the national government administrative officers on the ground, especially the chiefs and assistant chiefs and the Nyumba Kumis, to identify people who are keeping animals here, livestock keepers, who have more animals than their land can carry. If you have if you have 1,000 animals on 4 acres, that really means that you're actually grazing in the park.
We have a big problem in the ranch, particularly Sagala Ranch, where I'm actually the chairman. If at all there's any way people are allowed to do herding in the private ranches, there should be a balance. So there is a problem there, and that should be the starting point, where ranchers are fighting among themselves. We know what is happening. We know the sort of money which is being fleeced out of Sagala Ranch. We know the level of corruption.
In a resolution that came out from a meeting between the government officials and the wildlife stakeholders, ranchers and sanctuary owners are now challenged to supervise their clients in a bid to avoid future wildfires. Bill Otieno, NTV.
Now, Garissa County government has started fumigation of all government offices and compounds following an upsurge in people testing positive for COVID-19. Garissa has recorded 55 COVID-19 cases in the last 2 days, raising concern that the disease could be deeply rooted in the community. This has prompted the county to roll out fumigation of public places, including the Garissa Livestock Market and the main Garissa Open Air Market. Public sensitization is also on the table to create awareness among the residents in order to curb the spread.
I am calling upon the Garissa fraternity to ensure that the Ministry of Health protocols must be adhered to, because this is the only way to get rid of the disease.
Now, the public purse is stretched, yet MPs want taxpayers to part with an extra 1.76 billion shillings in the current financial year to meet their enhanced and backdated pension demands. Tonight on Team Coverage Wednesday, #The Pension Burden lays bare the struggles of retirees confronting delayed payments as legislators reach for more, and what this means for an economy which is already hard-pressed for resources. Take a look.
Some of these MPs who served from 1983 to 2001 actually earned peanuts in the name of pension.
I think the president and the government is going to reconsider our request.
This bill will cause serious strain to the exchequer.
There will be a ripple effect. There will be demands from other public servants, other state officers for similar treatment.
Hiyo ni kunyanyasa vijana, kwa sababu hao wabunge wakati wamekuwa kwa uongozi hata kuiba wameiba.
Sasa huyo mbunge mwenye alistaafu, kwa nini apewe hizo pesa zote?
Team Coverage Wednesday tonight at 9 p.m. Do be sure to tune in. Now, residents of Sigowet in Kericho County have decried the poor state of roads and other infrastructure in the area. The 2-kilometer stretch of Kiptere Primary School, Kondamet River, Chebetet Primary School is in a deplorable state with huge potholes that has made transport along the route cumbersome. Residents, led by the area Tibet village elder, claim that the villagers have been forced to try construct the road themselves after the area and county government of Kericho failed to intervene. Residents claim the road had been rendered impassable, making transport and communication difficult in the area. They've appealed to the county government to intervene and have the road constructed, saying they were paying taxes and demanded for the value of their money.
Mtu akikuwa mgonjwa inakuwa ngumu sana kufika hospitali. Hasa watu wengine wenye wanafanya kazi mahali wenye anaenda kila asubuhi. Lazima ufae kiatu ingine, ukifika barabara unabadilisha. Kwa sababu vile hata nyinyi mmejionea vile muliteremka hapo. Hii barabara imeleta shida sana, na hii barabara ni barabara ya kitambo sana. Hii barabara ni ya kitambo sana na iko registered. Sasa hatuoni kwa nini wakubwa wametuweka kando.
Wamama kama mimi sasa, mimi ni mama, tumepata shida. Sasa ile unajifungua inakuwa shida, upelekwe hospitali, urudi nyumbani imekuwa shida. tuko na masao. Mimi ni mkulima wa mahindi, mimi ni mkulima wa ndizi, mimi ni mkulima wa nyanya. Kufika sokoni inakuwa ni shida. Sasa tunaomba any stakeholder who is willing to come and assist us akuja atusaidie kwa hii njia.
Elsewhere, Diamond Trust Bank Kenya Limited has signed an agreement for a $50 million loan with the International Finance Corporation for onward lending to small and medium-sized businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The funds are being provided under the International Finance Corporation's global $8 billion fast-track COVID-19 facility, which was launched back in March to protect jobs and support businesses with working and trade-related capital. Diamond Trust Bank CEO Nasim Devji says this funding will be critical in boosting the bank's SME loan book. Diamond Trust Bank's loan book stood at 201 billion shillings as at the close of March 2020, a 6.9% growth from the size reported back in March 2019. It's almost 1:15. We're taking a quick break right now, but stay with us. There's more on the other side.
Introducing Ndovu Home Baking Flour and Ndovu Maize Meal, now in an attractive new packaging. Ndovu flours are fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide wholesome goodness for the whole family. Milled from a blend of the finest wheat, Ndovu all-purpose flour makes the most delicious chapatis, mandazis and all other pastries. Ndovu is readily available at your nearest shop. Ndovu Tosha.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
In the vast green Kiambu County, surrounded by luscious coffee plantations, flowing natural rivers, and alluring dams, sits the beautiful Zaria village, with every amenity desired for a home carefully considered. The village comprises of a perimeter wall, a kindergarten, a commercial center, and a clubhouse. There are 4 approved architectural house concepts, styled to accommodate your ideal dream home. Indulge your senses and relive your childhood desires, where you can be free, be bold, and be at home. Call us on 0729 121212, where you should dream it, own it, live it.
Welcome back. Some international news now, and thousands of anti-government protesters returned to the streets in Mali, resuming their months-long push to topple President Ibrahim Keita. Demonstrators gathered in a central square in the capital despite rainfall and pleas from mediators to stay at home, with many blowing plastic vuvuzela horns and brandishing anti-government banners. The gathering marks the first time since July, when the opposition group declared a temporary truce in their campaign to oust Keita. Tension snowballed into crisis last month when 11 people died during 3 days of unrest following an anti-Keita protest. They've accused President Ibrahim Keita of presiding over corruption and impunity in the poor Sahel nation. A team of experts from the United Nations arrived in Mauritius on Tuesday to support efforts to prevent an oil spill from a stricken ship from further damaging the island nation's pristine environment. Salvage crews were in a race against the clock as they pumped fuel from the Japanese-owned bulk carrier MV Wakashio, which ran aground on a coral reef last month and began leaking oil 5 days ago. Environmentalists say the spill has created an ecological disaster, endangering corals, fish and other marine life around the Indian Ocean island, even as authorities warn that the boat could split into two at any moment, with cracks in the hull growing larger by the day. Now, the announcement by Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara that he will run for another term has sparked outrage with a section of citizens, terming it as unconstitutional. Simone Gbagbo, the wife of former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo, and civil society groups have labelled Ouattara's decision as a coup that risks tipping the country into chaos. Ouattara stated that he would run for a third term, despite the constitution limiting a president to 2 terms. The decision is said to have been sparked by the sudden death of the country's prime minister, who was the ruling RHDP party's candidate for the upcoming general elections, which are set for the 31st of October this year. And New Zealand's looming general election could be delayed, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern warned today, as the shock re-emergence of the coronavirus sent the country's largest city into lockdown and forced nursing homes nationwide to shut their doors. Ardern said authorities were scrambling to trace anyone who had been in contact with 4 Auckland residents who tested positive on Tuesday and ended the country's envied run of 102 days without community transmission. A 3-day stay-at-home order for Auckland, a city of 1.5 million people, went into force at lunchtime, ending weeks of near normality when thousands had flocked to restaurants and filled rugby stadiums. Panic buying returned to supermarkets, huge queues formed at COVID-19 testing stations, and face-masked police banned roadblocks on major roads to enforce the new measures.
To stand ready again as well. Together we've beaten the virus before, and with fast action and by acting together, we can do so again. We have come too far to go backwards. I'm asking New Zealanders to once again be strong and be kind.
Now, Joe Biden's choice of Kamala Harris as his running mate has been hailed as an historic first for women of color. But some warn that her record as a tough prosecutor could dent her appeal with 2 key constituencies. That's black voters and liberals. Harris is the first African American and the first Asian American to be chosen as the running mate of a major party's presidential candidate.
Months after her own presidential dreams sputtered to a halt, Kamala Harris will now get another shot at the Democratic ticket. A year ago, the California senator had surged to the front of a crowded field of candidates on the back of a series of strong debate performances and a searing critique of her rival Joe Biden of a race. By the end of 2019, however, her campaign was dead. As the Democrats begin their joint campaign to oust the incumbent, Donald Trump, whose numbers have been dropping due to his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, he has expressed his reservations for Harris, whom he calls weaker than his own VP Mike Pence. Harris, a lawyer, has been criticized by many who feel she did very little when progressives urged her to embrace criminal justice reforms as a district attorney. Harris opposed them or stayed silent. Before serving as Attorney General, the 55-year-old Harris was the district attorney in San Francisco. She was elected to the Senate in 2016.
This Congress, which has just done nothing.
As concerns police brutality, Harris has also been criticized for failing to intervene in cases involving police and violence.
But despite her controversial record on criminal justice, Harris has also been lauded for fighting for progressive change. Her most successful program, called Back on Track, called for non-violent first-time drug offenders to avoid jail by getting a high school diploma. Kamala Davis Harris was born in 1964 in Oakland, California, to an Indian mother and a Jamaican father.
All right, from that, let's shift focus now to a bit of sports news. And betting firm Betika has extended its sponsorship deal with Sofapaka FC for the next 2 years. Sofapaka President Eli Kalekwa received a 77 million shilling check from Betika's head of business, John Mbatia, at Eastleigh High School earlier today. The 2009 Kenyan Premier League champions will also receive uniforms, balls and goal nets from their sponsor. The extension of the partnership comes at a time when the FKF Premier League has already secured a 1.2 billion shilling sponsorship deal with BetKing for the next 5 years. Each Premier League club is set to receive 8 million shillings per season for the next 5 years.
Hii maneno ya corona ni vitu yenyewe ni temporary, itapita. Si tunakula, si tunaishi, si tunafanya kazi. Ni lazima hii mpira itaendelea. Kwa sababu kuna wale wenye ambayo kwanza hata maligi zao zimeanza na hii kitu iko everywhere in the world, sio Kenya peke yake. Kwa hivyo hapa karibuni ligi tutarudilia, mpira itachezwa, hata kama itachezwa na macondition kufuatana na magonjwa, lakini mambo ni hivyo hivyo.
Vile umesema ni ndoa ambayo ilianza miaka 4 ambayo imepita. Na imekuwa safari njema kati ya Betika na Sofapaka. La kwanza kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wetu ambao wanacheza katika hizi timu, wale ambao wana support teams ya Sofapaka, wanapata nafasi ya kuparticipate katika mchezo wa mpira.
Now, Sevilla qualified for the semi-finals of the Europa League on Tuesday after Lucas Ocampo's late header broke Wolves' hearts, while Shakhtar Donetsk thumped Basel 4-1 to join the Spaniards in the last 4. Five-time competition winners Sevilla face Manchester United in Cologne on Sunday, thanks to a brilliant header from Argentine Ocampos with less than 2 minutes left on the clock, which gave them a deserved 1-0 win. Shakhtar take on Inter Milan on Monday in another intriguing tie. Sevilla dominated their English opponents over the course of the match as a tired-looking Wolves' dreams of European glory ended with a whimper. Elsewhere, the Ukrainian side got off to a flyer thanks to Brazil-born Junior Moraes, who headed home Marlos' corner with less than 2 minutes on the clock, and they never looked back from that point on. Tyson put Shakhtar 2 ahead 20 minutes later before Alan Patrick put the result beyond doubt from the penalty spot with 14 minutes left. Shakhtar rounded off a fine display in the 88th minute when right-back Dodo combined with Tete before smashing home a superb finish. And to the Champions League now, and Kylian Mbappe looks set to feature for PSG in their Champions League quarter-final against Atalanta in Lisbon tonight, having made a good recovery from an ankle injury. His coach Thomas Tuchel said that on the eve of the game. A World Cup winner, Mbappe sprained his ankle during PSG's French Cup final win over Saint Etienne on the 24th of July. The French champions have not reached the semi-finals of Europe's elite club competition since 2011. Atalanta's coach said